So generally, when you work as an IT business analyst, they will assign you an enhancement or a task to work on. And they'll only give one line description of that task. This is that one line, whatever it is that I'm highlighting. Visualizations needs to be in place for default rate analysis. So now we are going to understand how we are going to elicit requirements for this one-liner task that's assigned to you. Now, what we are going to do here is I'm going to reverse engineer, right? So what do I mean by that? So generally, requirements are gathered first, then we code for the feature or features. But here in this case, I'm going to show you the feature first so that you can understand the requirements gathering process. And then I'm going to gather requirements. You see what I'm saying? So let me write it down, that way you can figure it out, right? So generally in real time, this is what is done. So requirements are gathered first, and then we code for the feature, and then we see the feature. Okay? So now here, for your understanding, so first I'm going to show you the feature and then gather requirement. So this is what is called reverse engineering. And of course, we don't have to code for the requirements because you are not a developer, so that's not needed, right? So I'll repeat this again. You have to understand this exercise that we are going. In the real world, first the requirements are gathered. Then we code for the feature. Then we see the feature, right? So what do I mean by feature? Total borrowers, defaulters 7,108, non-defaulters 25,473. So this one segment we can call it a feature. So in real world, we first gather the requirements, then code for this feature. The developers and testers will type in chunks and chunks of code, and then the testers will test. And then we will be able to see this feature, right? In that order, right? Requirements gathering, coding, then we can visually see the feature. But for our purpose, for the purpose of training, for me to make you understand the requirements gathering process, I'm showing you the feature first and then gathering requirements. So show you the feature, then gather requirements. So we are reverse engineering. Of course, the coding part, we don't need to do that because you are not a developer, right? You are a business analyst, so we are not going to touch that. Hope this is clear. And if it's not clear, comment below and I'll get back to you, right? Hope this exercise is clear, right? So now, and again, if something is not clear, do comment below in the learning management portal. You will have an ability to comment. Do comment. If it's really good, also do comment. If there's any other questions, do comment. I'm really looking for your feedback. Having said that, so now what is the enhancement that's assigned to you? Visualization needs to be in place for default rate analysis. Visualizations needs to be in place for default rate analysis. This is the one-liner, right? And this is talking about this total borrowers, this default rate segment that I'm circling, default rate by loan purpose, the loan grade. So a little bit of background on these features. This is a banking dashboard. Remember, banking is a very important domain, banking and healthcare, right? You should have those skill set in your resume for you to get calls. So I'm taking banking domain to show you these features, right? So this one-liner is talking about this total borrowers default rate by loan grade, right? So this is the one-liner for these features. Again, in real life, when you go work, when you get the one-liner, these things will not be coded. You have to gather requirements and only then they'll code. But for your understanding, I'm showing you the output first and then I'm teaching you how to gather requirements. So this is only for this we will go over how to gather requirements. So now I'll explain what's in here. So this is a bank. They are analyzing their defaulters and trying to figure out what they can do to reduce the defaulters, right? Generally, banks loan out money to small businesses or to individuals, and then sometimes they get paid back. Most of the times, banks get paid back. Sometimes banks don't get paid back. In order to reduce the defaulters, they are analyzing the defaulters' data. For example, they have calculated the number of defaulters, the number of non-defaulters, which is 7,108. That's the number of defaulters, and then 25,473. That's the number of non-defaulters. 22% of them are defaulting. 78% of them are not defaulting. There's 21.76% of them are male. 21.87% of them are female. So they're kind of analyzing who's defaulting, who's not defaulting. And then when it comes to this one, when they take loan for debt consolidation, they already have some debt, they want to take some more debt to resolve that debt. If that's the case, 29% of times, as you can see, 29% here, they'll not pay back. If it's a medical loan, it's 27%. If it's home improvement, it's 26%. If it's personal, it's 20%. If it's education, it's 17%. If it's venture, it's 15%. Right? Now, when it comes to loan grade, if it's an A grade loan, they have a good profile. They have a lot of, the credit score is good. Then it's A grade, then it is B, C, D, E, F, G. The lower the credit, the grade becomes B, C, D to G, right? So if it's G grade, it's 98%. You will almost always default on that loan. If the profile is A, then the small business or the business or the individual will pay back the loan. So they are kind of doing the analysis, right? So there's so many other features that you can see here. I'm not going to go over that. I'm only going to go over this one feature, the total borrowers default rate, um, loan purpose, and then loan grade. These are the four features that we are going to gather requirements for, right? So now I have explained you these features. Now let's look into why these features are even built in the first place. Reverse engineering, remember that. So now, business purpose of the enhancement, right? So the reason why the business, again, we talked about this before, there's two broad entities. One is business, one is IT, and you are the liaison for IT. The reason why the business entity is asking for this enhancement is because, or this set of enhancements or set of features, they're asking for these features that we've seen. The reason why they're asking for these features is because the risk data is scattered across multiple systems, Excel, PDF, SQL extracts, etc. Teams spend hours gathering data, not analyzing it. So even to pick those data up, for example, the defaulter percentage data, the female and male data, they have to look through a lot of spreadsheet. We just looked into the default rate by loan purpose, right? So they have to look into a lot of spreadsheets to find all those numbers. They don't want to do that. They just want to see that visualization so that they get the exact picture, right? So that's what they are trying to do. And they want to avoid spending hours gathering data, right? They don't want to do that. They just want to see the visualization. Okay, this is the picture. Got it. That's what they are trying to do. Currently, they don't have a single source of truth. They are trying to avoid that, resolve that by looking into the visualizations. You get the point? Leadership lacks real-time view of risk exposure. So by kind of visualizing it like this, by visualizing it like this, by visualizing it like this, they get a good view of the risk exposure. Currently, they don't have that because they are looking into spreadsheet and PDFs, right? They don't get that view. Hard to identify which segments are driving defaults, purpose, grade. So that's this, right? Default rate by loan purpose and loan grade. Right now, they don't have that. They are simply going through spreadsheets and PDF, so they are not able to get that view, to get that understanding easily. It takes a lot of time to get that understanding. Understand this. As a BA, you need to understand this background. You need to understand why they want something. That why, you need to have the answer to the why question, right? So that's why I'm going over this. This is very important. So please do provide a lot of emphasis to this. Existing analysis is mostly backward looking. There's no forward projection. With these reports, you can figure out what needs to be done moving forward. A manual report cause delays in critical decisions. I just want to see that picture, that visualization, and I want to take a decision. I don't want to be looking into chunks and chunks of numbers. Portfolio managers cannot zoom into their own segment like this by loan grade or by loan purpose. They are not able to do that, right? Debt consolidation, medical, home improvement. They are not able to look through these segments by looking into those Excel and PDFs, right? That's what they are trying to avoid. And that's causing delays. And it's not easy to look into it. No easy way to compare default rate across loan attribute. Forecasting is done manually in Excel. It's inconsistent, error prone, not scalable. Hence, we want these visualizations in place. So now, again, I'm going to again go over this. So one feature is the total borrowers, defaulters and non-defaulters. Total number of people who borrowed money from that financial agency. These are the non-defaulters, 25,473. These are the defaulters, 7,108. So this is the final output. Once the requirements are gathered, once the coding is done, this is what we see, right? Second feature is default rate, gender, age, income. So 22% of the loans are defaulted. Male 21.76, female 21.87. When it comes to age range, if they are below 35, 27.4% of the times they default. If they are above, if they are over 35, if they are 35 plus, 27.4% of the times they'll default. And if they are less than 35, say 31, 29, 72.2% of them are defaulters. So in this 7,000 people, right? In this 7,108 people, 72.2% are less than 35. 27.4% are more than 35. That's what they are trying to convey through this. An income band. If they make 100,000, so again, when it comes, so out of this 7,108 defaulters, more than 11.15% of them make more than $100,000 per year. 89.85% of them make less than $100,000 per year. You see? So this is all for this defaulters. So it's all this defaulters percentage. So out of this 7,108, 11.15 percentage, they make more than $100,000 a year. 89.85 percentage, they make less than $100,000 a year. So hope this is clear. So more than $100,000, 11.15 percentage, less than $100,000, 89.85 percentage. So if you make less than $100,000, there's a lot of chances that you will default. The probability is high. And if you make more money, you won't default. That's common sense, right? That's what the data is telling us as well. So next is default rate by loan purpose. If it's debt consolidation, 29% of that. So out of that, again, they are again going back to the same number, right? Out of the 7,108, 29% of them are debt consolidation, 27% medical, 26 home percentage, 20% personal, 17% education, and 15% venture, right? So it has to add up to 100%, but then I don't think it's adding up to 100%, right? But just excuse that. But in theory, in real time, it's going to add to 100%. This one is not adding to 100%. But that's okay, right? We are just trying to understand the IT aspects of it, not the math behind it. That's okay, right? But you get the logic, right? We want to see the percentage of people in the 7,108 who defaulted on a debt consolidation loan. Percentage of people who defaulted on medical loan. Percentage of them who defaulted on home improvement loan. So that is again the percentage of this 7,108, right? And then again, default rate by loan grade. If it's loan grade, again, it's calculated based on your profile, based on the business profile, or based on your personal profile, your background, your income. If it's grade A loan to grade G, so that's A to G. If it's A, the chances are less. If it's G, the chances are more. So if it's A, there's only 10% chance of default. If it is G, the chances are 98% that you will default. For this, again, right, for this, they are not looking into this 7,108. They are looking into this number. So this default rate by loan grade is based on this entire total borrowers, and they are just kind of giving a probability that, hey, if it's an A grade loan, there's few defaulters. If it's a G grade loan, which is a very low grade, the number of defaulters are high. So that's what it's trying to convey. So you get the picture from an IT perspective, right? The business is trying to analyze their defaulters based on the loan purpose, based on the loan grade, based on the gender, age, income, to figure out why is someone defaulting and how to avoid that. So they are kind of learning and analyzing the defaulters, the default percentage, and why somebody is defaulting. They are kind of analyzing their data. And they need all these features, be it total borrowers, defaulters, and non-defaulters feature, be it default rate, gender, age, income feature. Every feature will have a name, by the way. That's why I'm showing this to you. default rate by loan purpose feature, default rate by loan grade feature. So they want all these features for one main reason, one broad high level reason, which is to analyze their defaulters, to figure out why they are defaulting and figuring out who is defaulting. They want to figure that out so that moving forward, they can reduce that default percentage, period. That's what we are trying to do. That's what the business is trying to do. Is it clear? Okay. And if something is not clear, like I said, do comment below. I will respond to those comments. Okay. So now this is going to be a simulation of how we will gather requirements, right? I'm going to simulate an actual requirements gathering meeting. So this conversation is going to be between the business analyst and the business. In this case, the one who's going to talk to me is going to be the risk manager, because the risk manager will be using all these features, right? Let me simulate this. So this is how I'm starting the meeting as a BA. Help me understand the real pain here, what's not working today. So that's how, as a business analyst, I'm starting the meeting. So right now we are here, right? So the risk manager. Our risk data is scattered across spreadsheets and emails. Nothing is centralized. So that's what he's saying. This is what we discussed about, right? So right now what I'll do is I'll kind of highlight the I'll try to change the color of the text, right? Just trying to do that. Yeah. And I'll make all the risk manager into red and business analyst into green. That way you know who's who. So this is the very first statement. Hey, help me understand the real pain here. What's not working today? The risk manager will say our risk data is scattered across spreadsheets and email. Nothing is being centralized. Nothing is centralized currently. And then the BA will say, so you want one place where you can trust the numbers. Risk manager, exactly. One clean dashboard with accurate, up-to-date info. Right? Which is this. 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 Right? You get how it's connected? Okay. And again, we are reverse engineering. In real time, this will not be there. I'm showing this to you right now because I want you to understand. In real time, when we are having this conversation, right, these features will not be there because right now we are only gathering the requirements, right? You see, understand that we are reverse engineering. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide. Who's actually going to use this dashboard? Right? So who's actually going to use this dashboard? And the risk manager would say again. Now, very first question was, okay, what's your problem? What are we trying to solve? So I'm kind of opening the discussion with a high level question. What are we trying to solve? And the risk manager says, hey, this is our problem. The risk data is scattered across spreadsheets and emails. Nothing is centralized. Okay. Now, the business analyst is saying, so you want one place where you can trust the numbers. And he says, exactly. So now, who is going to access this one place in terms of designation? So that's going to be the credit risk team, the portfolio managers, and leadership. Only they can access these features. So all these features that you see in here, total borrowers, the default rate by loan purpose, only the credit risk team, portfolio managers, and leadership can access. Other folks cannot access. This is called need to know or role-based access control. If it's going to be a clerk in that bank, they will not be able to access. If that person is going to be a salesperson in that bank, they will not be able to access. This is called need to know or role-based access control. Okay? And then the business analyst is going to ask, and what decision do they want to make from it? And then again, right? So what are we trying to do with those features? What are we trying to decide? Right? And then the risk manager says where the risk is increasing, which loan segment default more, what to focus on. So right now it's still abstract. It's not very clear. We are getting into the details of it. We are getting some kind of a high level understanding. We are asking, okay, who's going to use this dashboard? What is your pain? What is the pain point? And okay, you want all those numbers to be in one location in the dashboard. Great. So what are you going to do with it? What decisions are going to be taken? Or what are you going to do with it? You're asking all those questions. Why do you need something? Right? And what do you need it for? So those two questions a BA must ask. So that's being asked in here, right? So next comes, so when the risk manager says things like where the risk is increasing, which loan segments defaults more, and what to focus on. So now I got that info. Okay, where the the default risk is increasing, which loan segments default more, and what to focus on. Okay, now I got it, right? So before coming to the meeting, by the way, I only knew this one line. This is all you know before you come to this requirements meeting. You just know this one line. And maybe you've done some analysis to understand how this application works here. Currently, how this dashboard works, all the other things in the dashboard that we are trying to build. Of course, the total borrowers default rate by loan purpose is not going to be there right now, of course, because we are still gathering requirements, right? All the other segments will be there. So you can understand how this module works. When I say module, I'm talking about this entire credit risk analysis page without the enhancements, all the other segments. How that module works, how they are tracking things in spreadsheet. So that you can understand as a part of analysis, which I will cover later. And you will understand when during the analysis, right, which we will cover later, you will understand how they are tracking using Excel PDF, how the risk data is tracked using Excel and PDF. All that you will be able to, you will be analyzing it with an end user. So that's what happens in analysis, right? So so right now, as you are having this conversation with them, right, with that risk manager, all you know is, you know this one-liner, visualizations needs to be in place for default rate analysis. And then you know all this info because you did your analysis with an end user. Watch the analysis videos if you haven't already. After this session, after you're done watching this, watch that, right? So that you can understand how analysis is done if you haven't watched it. So now you know this via analysis, all these things, and you know this one line. That's all. So when he says this is like a lead. So when you say, hey, what decisions do they want to make from the dashboard? When you ask that question, it being that dashboard, or set of features. He says things like where the risk is increasing, which loan segment default more, and what to focus on. Right? So that's like a lead. You kind of, okay, you take notes, right? So now, based on this main line, I'm going to highlight this. You are going to ask a follow-up question. Sounds like we need to group the info. What are the big themes you think in? Right? And then, and all you're asking is, okay, give me more details. Right? Okay, risk is increasing. Great. Can you give more details? Exactly what you want to capture. Can you give me some facts, some figures? So that's what this is. And then the risk manager says, we want to understand the number of borrowers who are defaulting. We want a live update view of this for executive visibility. So very first point, now we are starting to get those granular details, right? We want to understand the number of borrowers who are defaulting. We want a live update view of this for executive visibility. So it has to be real time, is what he's saying. So what does he mean by this? He says they want this total borrowers, defaulters, right? So he wants to see this defaulters in the dashboard, in the application. That is what he means by saying we want to understand number of borrowers who are defaulting. You see that number in here, right? So now we want a live update view of this for executive visibility. It has to be real time. The data should not be, so this data should not be from the 7,108 number should not be from 2 weeks ago. It should be live data. Say for example, somebody defaulted wherever it is that I live right now, the time is 9:32. So if somebody defaulted at 9:31, I need to know in this. It should be updated here, right? That's what he means. Moving on. When you say number of borrowers who are defaulting, do you mean the total defaulters number and the ones who are non-defaulters? So I'm just verifying as a business analyst. Is that what you mean? I'm kind of verifying. Yeah. And the risk manager says, he kind of thinks about it. Yeah. And the percentage of defaulters, right? And what does he mean by that? Here it is, right? He's asking for this, right? And I just say, hey, note it, right? And I'm asking what, as a business analyst, the business analyst will ask, what else do you need? The risk manager would say, oh, sorry. This should be color coded in green for understanding. Okay. And the risk manager would say three things: who the borrowers are, what's causing the risk, and where risk is heading. Now, again, he's saying something that's a little bit abstract, right? Who the borrowers are, okay. But then what exactly? Who the borrowers are, exactly what do you want in terms of who the borrowers are? Gender, demography, even if it's demography, is that what you're asking? And within demography, is it the revenue, is it the amount of money that they make, gender, the place where they live, their the kind of work that they do? Is that what you're asking? So I want to know, as a BA, you should, when they say something abstract, hey, that's still useful information. But again, you want to know the granular details, the specifics, the facts.
right? So that's how you have to steer the vehicle, and you have to kind of take it to that path. So you kind of say, as a business analyst, the business analyst would say, so basically demographic, risk drivers, and forecast. So now I'm kind of introducing this term demography, right? Risk drivers and forecast, anyways, we know, but you want to see the demographics, right? So now I can kind of go into what demography they need. So I'm kind of steering the vehicle towards specifics, facts, granular details, as opposed to high level abstract statements. Because if it's high level and abstract, it's very hard to code that for those requirements, right? You need those granular details. Okay, demographics, exactly what demography it is. Gender, kind of work, age, income, what exact demography details do you need in the screen? That's how you have to steer the ship, right? So I've already introduced that demography key term, and that's where I'm steering the ship or the car, whatever it is. Now I'm again asking, see, can you give me granular details into demographics? Now he kind of goes. The risk manager says, we want to know the percentage of male and percentage of female who default. That is in here. Okay. And what else is he asking? And then he's asking for, oops, sorry. And then he's asking for, we want to know the percentage of male and female who default. We want to know the age, especially percentage of people who are less than 35 percentage, who are less than 35 years old, uh, who default. And he's talking about this. And then we also want to know the percentage of people who make $100,000 or less who default per year, right? He's talking about this. Now we are getting those granular details. Now we can write requirements. So that is what you have to do as a IT business analyst. Anytime somebody says something abstract, great, that's also good info. Okay, now go into the granularities, right? You just say, as a BA, I'll be like, hey, good, that's what I was asking for, noted, right? So moving on. What others? Okay, now I'm clear with this, whatever it is that you said. What else do you need? Right? So I'm kind of shifting to what else does the customer want? Because whatever it is that he conveyed so far, I'm clear. I've captured that, right? So what so what are the other main attributes you analyze when looking at risk? So I just want to understand, okay, what else do you need, right? That's what I'm asking. So he's now talking about loan purpose and grade. So RM is the risk manager. That way there's no confusion, right? So risk manager is from business, by the way. There's two broad entities. Again, there's two broad entities. One is the business, one is the IT, and other is the business. In here, the risk manager is business, and business analyst is the liaison for IT. So this is the coordination between the business and IT. The risk manager is business, right? Okay. So the risk manager is saying, so what are the other main attributes you analyze when you look at a risk? What else do you need is what I'm asking. So loan purpose and grade. Okay, now loan purpose and grade. Okay, loan purpose. That's still abstract. Okay, what different types of loan purpose are you thinking about? Anything specific? So I'm asking, can you tell me all types of loans we have to capture for loan purpose, right? Um, so now I'm kind of going into those granular details that we discussed about. And the risk manager says, sure, we have debt consolidation, medical, home improvement,
personal, education, and venture. He's talking about all these guys, right? Clear? And so again, now I'm double checking. So you want the percentage of loans. So you want the percentage of loans. Example, what percentage of loans are medical? So I'm kind of trying to understand what exactly they want, right? And so I'm just asking you, do you want the overall percentage? Meaning, do you want the overall percentage of this 3,000, 32,581, the percentage of this number, that's medical loan, that's personal loan, is that percentage that you are looking for, or are you looking for the percentage of this defaulters, 7,108 percentage of them, that's depth consolidation, medical, home improvement? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So in other words, this 29 percentage that you see in here, right? And this 27 percentage medical, this 26 percentage home improvement, I'm asking, is that the percentage of this 3,581, which is the total borrowers, or 7,108, which is the total defaulters, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure as a BA, right? And now he comes back and says, no, that's not what we want. We want to capture the default percentage of medical and all other types we mentioned. So he doesn't want to capture this. He does not want to capture this total borrowers, percentage of medical from this total borrowers, percentage of debt consolidation from this total borrowers. No, he wants to calculate the percentage of these defaulters. In other words, this debt consolidation 29 percentage, this medical 27 percentage, is 27 percentage and 29 percentage of these defaulters, not the total borrowers. You got it? So that's what I'm asking as a BA. Okay, what percentage do you want to see? Is it the percentage of total borrowers or percentage of defaulters, right? So he kind of gives me the answer, and then the business analyst would be like, okay, understood. And then I'm asking, do we have the data for this already within our system? So do you have the data, or do you want me to bring the data from somewhere else, or do we have the data? And the risk manager says yes. So that's good. It's good that we have the data. If we don't have the data, then we need to do something. It's a dependency, and we might not be able to proceed, or we might be able to proceed, or we should wait for somebody to deliver something. So that's not the case. We will look into those cases later in the training. But for this case, for this example, for this scenario, that's not the case, right? They have the data. So the risk manager says, yes, we have the data. And business analyst will say, hey, noted, right? So next up, now I'm again asking anything else that you need, right? Anything else that you need from us? And the risk manager says, yes, we should be able to see the number of borrowers, defaulters and non-defaulters, for each and every loan purpose, right? Meaning he's talking about this capability. If you see this, right, focus on this number. Now the total borrowers is 32,581. If I click on personal, it's only showing people who took personal loans. That's 5,521. And then the defaulters and non-defaulters are for this 5,521, are only for this personal loans. If I click on venture, it again updates the number. It's 5,719 for venture. 847 defaulted, 4,872 did not default. So he's asking for this capability. For each and every loan purpose, how many borrowers are there? How many of them have defaulted? How many of them have not defaulted, right? That's what he's asking. We should be able to see the number of borrowers, defaulters and non-defaulters for each and every loan purpose. I said noted. Should we be able to do the same for default rate? So do we need to see the default rate percentage in general and default rate percentage for male and female based on the type of loan? That is debt consolidation, medical, home improvement, etc. So I am kind of taking the lead and asking, hey, you mentioned this. Do you also want to see the overall default rate and female and male default rate for each and every loan purpose? So I'm kind of asking whether do you want to see this. So focus on this one, right? Focus on the default rate and the female and male. If I click on personal, it's only going to show the default rate for the personal loans. If I click on medical, it's only going to show the default rate for the medical loans and female default and male default percentage, right? So this is what I'm asking. Do you also want this capability? And he says, um, let me think about it. Yeah, why not? Sure. So I'm kind of taking the lead. Instead of the business giving me the requirement, I kind of captured some requirements, and based on that, I'm asking, hey, do you also need this? And the business comes back and say, yeah, that's a good idea. We need this, right? So as a business analyst, you should be proactive and you should be able to have that eye for detail, and then you should be able to give these kinds of suggestions, right? So that's what I'm trying to convey. So I'm just gonna color code this in green for better understanding. And then, yeah, so this one will be red since this is the risk manager, right? Now again, I'm doing the same thing. Noted. How about loan grade? I was doing analysis and loan grade came up a lot. So this happened during my analysis meetings with the end user, right? Any thoughts? Do you want anything in terms of loan grade? And I'm talking about this. If you click on loan grade, it's in here. If I click on this loan grade, it's not fully visible for some reason. Half the text is visible. So this is loan grade A to G. So I'm asking them, hey, do you need anything in terms of loan grade, right? This is what I'm asking about. And the risk manager says, good point. Yes, we want the default percentages for loan grade as well. We have loan grades from A to G and we want to see the default percentage. Glad you brought it up. So he's kind of saying, hey, good job. I'm glad you brought it up. We need that, right? So they want to do all the same things. 71 percentage based on the loan grade. I think that's going to update based on, again, the total borrowers default rate, female and male, will update based on the loan grade as well. So I kind of suggested it, and the business stakeholder liked it and they want it, right? So he says, good point. Yes, we want the default percentages for loan grade as well. We have loan grades from A to G. So he's giving all the information A to G, and we want to see the default percentage. Glad you brought it up. So I'm kind of taking notes, right? This is how you elicit requirements. Even if the stakeholder is not able to convey something clearly and he's not able to spell it out, you have to ask questions, suggest things to make sure that that is conveyed by the business stakeholder. So even if they are not able to word those requirements, spit it out properly, you should elicit it from them by asking the questions, and you should be able to bring those requirements out of the business stakeholders. That is what a good business analyst will do, right? So that's what I'm doing here, right? And that's why he says, hey, glad you brought it up. So I just say, hey, sounds good, noted. So I'm taking notes all the while I'm doing all this. I'm also taking notes. So next is, so do you want the data visualization to be updated every day or every hour, or should it be real time? Real time will be preferred. Again, like we discussed previously. So everything that you see in here up until 9:48. If somebody defaulted 9:48 p.m., I should be able to see it in here. That's what is called real time. If it's a day behind, then I'll only be able to see something, say, every day it gets updated at 12 a.m. So I'm still looking at the data from early morning, which is not very effective. It's not as effective as real time data, right? So that's the difference. So you as a BA, you as an IT business analyst should be able to ask these questions. That's very important. So hope you understood the difference between the visualization, meaning the total borrowers, default rate by loan grade, getting filtered on real time every day, every hour. Every hour means every hour, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it gets updated. So I have to wait 10 more minutes till 10 p.m. to see the updated info. Right now I'm seeing 9 p.m. data. Real time means it's real time. Till 9:49, if somebody defaulted, I will see it in the dashboard, right? And generally, of course, business prefers real-time data. Um, so once I ask that question, the risk manager says real-time will be preferred. Now the business analyst will say noted. And now I've kind of captured the requirements. The risk manager is asking, is it possible to get real-time visualization? Think we need it. So it's like, is it possible? Now you can ask whatever you need, right? As from a requirement standpoint, you can ask whatever it is that you need as a business. But do we have the technical, does the organization have the technical capability to deliver it? That is something else. So as a business analyst, you should not say yes or no here. You have to go, do your due diligence, check with your technical team, your developer or tester, whoever it is, should be a tech lead, right? You have to go to your technical team, take it back, take that question, check with them, hey, can we give real-time visualization? Then the tech lead will update you. Yes, it's possible. No, it's not possible. So what I'm saying is, let me check with my technical team and get back. So that's an action item for me. So take it as an action item. Even in when you gather requirements, right? If somebody asks you a question and you don't know something, you can always say, hey, you know what? That's a good question. I'll take it as an action item and I'll get back to you ASAP. Today, tomorrow. You can kind of give an ETA if you want. But you can always do that. You can take it back and respond to that question later. There's no harm in that. As long as you're prompt, right? You don't have to get nervous. Oh, I was asked a question, I did not know the answer. You don't need to panic. And most importantly, if you don't know something, don't give an answer if you don't know the answer. So I don't know currently whether real-time visualization, we can get real-time visualization or not. I don't know the answer for that. So I'm not supposed to say, yes, we can visualize the data in a real-time manner. On real time, we can show you the visualization in real time. I cannot give that answer. I cannot, I should also not say we cannot do it because I don't know the answer. I have to take it back to the technical team, get the answer, and then respond. It's always good to double check. Even if you're not sure about it, double check. And just don't answer blindly. Don't panic. It's okay. It's good, right? So that's done. Moving on. So that part is done, right? I've taken an action item. Now I'm asking, is there any accessibility requirements in terms of size of the text, color of the visualization, right? So accessibility requirement is nothing but in some organizations, the text should not be less than 10 or 11 in scale. The text size should be more than 12. So based on the organization, they have these rules. So I'm kind of asking them, do you have any accessibility needs? Should the text be a certain size? Do you need a specific color? Do you need this visualization, this bar chart to be displayed in a certain color? That's what I'm asking. For this, now he doesn't know the answer for this, right? Now the risk manager, the business doesn't know the answer for this. So he says, oh, he's kind of thinking about it. Yeah, I have not thought about it. Can I check with my team and get back? And you are kind of noting it down as an action item for the business, for him, so that you can keep track. The risk manager says, that's great, we'll get back to you. So that's also good. You're tracking the business as action item so that you can you so that you get what you need, right? And you're also being proactive and you're taking ownership, so that's good. And as a BA, you should be doing that. And finally, you say, thanks, Mark. Anything else that you need to convey for this session? So you've gathered everything. So I'm just saying, hey, the risk manager's name is Mark. Let's give a random name, right? We are making stuff up anyways. And the risk manager says, no, I'm good, Shushruth. That's my name. So I'm the BA, right? So, okay, I think we are almost out of time. So, yeah, the meeting is coming to an end. Let's adjourn and I will send the meeting minutes today. This is very important. So once you meet with somebody and once they give you the requirements, send them meeting minutes, right? And it's better if the meeting minutes is in the body of the email. In this day and age, with the kind of attention capacity or the attention span that we have, we do not have the ability to go into the attachment section in the Outlook email, open it, click on enable edit, read through the meeting minutes. Nobody has that ability. The meeting minutes should be brief, crisp, should not go on and on. It should be crisp and brief. And it should be, I prefer it being in the body of the email so that people do read it. And it's easier to cite it's easier to refer to it in the future, and it's easier to cite in the future. Meaning, if you said something, if the business says yes, and then after 2 months they say no, if the business says we need something and then they change the requirements, you can always go back to the meeting minutes and then you can show them, hey, you know what? This is what we decided, right? And it's in the meeting minutes. So do refer to the meeting minutes, right? So the meeting minutes is important, and I would recommend the meeting minutes being in the body of the email, right? So on the very same day, it's better to send it. It's better to send the meeting minutes on the same day, right? So you'll send the meeting minutes on the same day. So the risk manager, the business says, hey, goodbye, thank you, and you also say, hey, thank you, bye, right? So making it as real time as possible. This is exactly how things work in real time. So that's why I'm kind of even the goodbyes and all is there, right? And this is how a business analyst will take notes. Finally, after this meeting, if you are not recording the session, this is what you will have. We need to capture total borrowers, total defaulters and non-defaulters. We need to capture total defaulters percentage, male percentage and female percentage. We need to capture default percentage by loan purpose, debt consolidation, medical home improvement, personal education, venture and loan grade A to G. The data visualization should be real time. Only staff with credit risk roles, portfolio roles, and executive roles shall have the ability to see the data visualization. Need to know or role based access control, right? So only certain staff can see these visualizations. Only certain staff can see these visualizations. Default rate total borrowers, default rate by loan grade, and default rate by loan purpose. Only certain staff can do it. A sales staff cannot do it because they are not listed here. That's called need to know or role based access control. That's very important. Um, Next is and you have to bring it up as a BA, these things. Next is action item for me. Check if real-time data visualization is possible with the tech lead. His name is Jim. So it's real-time. I'm kind of throwing out names now. An action item for Mark, who's the risk manager. See if they have any accessibility requirements that they want to give us. That's an action item for him, right? So what I'll do is I'll kind of clean up my notes, make it organized, send it out as meeting minutes. So that 5 days later, Mark can Mark will know what we discussed, you will know what we discussed, and we are all running into so many meetings, we won't forget anything. That's the main reason we have meeting minutes. I can't stress this enough. Sending meeting minutes is very important because Mark, who's the business, after a week or two, will forget everything that he told you, and he can come back and say, you've captured it all incorrectly, right? You understood it all incorrectly. So that is why on the very same day, you have to send meeting minutes so that when Mark forgets everything and he blames it on you that you've captured everything wrongly, you can cite the meeting minutes that you sent on the same day you gathered requirements, and you can be safe. And Mark can also get a reminder of what was discussed, right? So it's good for all parties concerned. Meeting minutes is very crucial, right? A lot of emphasis on that. So yeah, that's about it. So this is how you gather requirements. Hope you understood what was conveyed in this session. Do rewatch the video if you did not understand anything specific. Uh, Watch it at least 3 times, I would recommend. Take notes. And if there's any questions, comment below. I'll respond to these comments. So next up, we'll go into, now that we have all these notes, next up, I'll teach you how to document business and functional requirements, user stories, acceptance criteria, use case, um, and then so all that, the business process flow diagram, etc. So I will teach you all that. So thank you.